But for the time being, we have a really long road ahead. We're seeing some strength in various domestic markets, thinking Vietnam, China was doing really well, but then you had, the Beijing outbreaks. Korea seems to be doing well. But other than that, it's a very tepid recovery, especially for the regional and international type of travel. So it's going to be a long way, especially since airlines are cutting a number of aircraft and cutting a number of staff. So it'll take them a long time before they can even ramp up, assuming things start to get back to normal from a regulatory perspective.
Greg, I thought it was interesting. Last week, IATA said that mandatory quarantine measures around the world are stopping people from going travelling. Essentially, the message from IATA was that people are just as concerned about going into quarantine as they are about getting the virus. Do you support IATA's proposal for a list of alternative quarantine measures? And what is the industry doing to get people flying again and open up the travel and tourism sector while also protecting their health?
Well, there's only so much that the industry can do because they're really at the mercy of regulators and being allowed to fly into the different countries. I think they've made a lot of efforts about how to help clean their keeping the aircraft. Everybody's going to wear a mask. Flight attendants will wear a mask. The food service will be much reduced. They won't allow people to go to the bathroom whenever they feel like. A lot of these sort of things around that, social distancing at the airports. But it really is going to come back to the regulators. And IATA is correct. I mean, when you have a quarantine, it does amount to an actual ban. I mean, a business traveler is not going to go somewhere where he has to stay, in a hotel for 3, 4, 5 days, up to 2 weeks. And also leisure travelers. I mean, people only get so much holiday per year. And you might have a quarantine when you get to your destination, and then when you return to your home country, there might be a quarantine as well. And this basically kills any desire to travel. I mean, the airlines are struggling with this, but there's only so much they can do. The regulators really need to step up to the plate and harmonize how this is going to work.
Greg, I also wanted to get your reaction to the 737 MAX trials. Why should the flying public have confidence in this aircraft if and when it's safe to return to the skies?
There's been a lot of work that Boeing has put into resolving, the well-publicized issues around the 737 MAX. I mean, they've spent a lot of time and a lot of effort. They've pretty much poured all of their resources into dealing with this issue. So I think, the amount of effort that Boeing has put into this, as well as the amount of regulatory scrutiny this aircraft is going to get once the testing campaign starts and once people really start looking at the training and how the pilots work in the cockpit and so forth, I think by the time it does actually start serving passengers again, I think it'll be a very safe aircraft to fly because it's going to have to go through a lot to get back into the air with passengers.